Okay, good morning, everyone. Okay, and welcome to the University of Pittsburgh School of Social Work MSW Information Session. My name is Philip Mack, and I am the Director of Admissions here at the School of Social Work. And I would truly like to welcome each and every one of you for taking time out this Saturday to come to this session. In fact, my colleagues and I, we really want to compliment you because I don't know if you realize how important it is for you to visit a graduate school that you're considering applying to. And that's one thing that I'd like to begin by stating. One thing about me is that I am not, even as the Director of Admissions, I am not going to sell the University of Pittsburgh MSW program to you. This is much too of an important decision for you to make. I truly encourage each of you to apply to at least 3 schools, perhaps no more than 5 schools, to find out. I want you to become educated consumers. Is the school that you choose to apply to and ultimately enroll in, is it the best fit for you? Okay, that's what you want to find out. Is the school the best fit for you? And believe me that each school you're going to find, we all have different missions. We all have different purposes. So that's what you want to find out. What school matches up? What school actually fits you the best? I have a saying. As you hear me talking about the right fit, I have a saying that selecting a graduate school is one of the most important decisions that you're ever going to make. It's up there with buying a house or new car, selecting a college to attend, or even when it comes time to getting married, selecting that long time and mate that you're planning to spend the rest of your life with. Selecting a graduate school is just as important as any of those decisions. I know that when my wife and when we moved here, I moved here from Miami, Florida. So yes, and I get that every day from my wife still after 6 years. We moved here from Miami, Florida, okay? But we came up with a decision-making matrix in terms of buying a house. We looked at a number of variables. It was not only about the cost, but it was about the square footage of the house, how many bedrooms, the closeness in terms of public transportation, the quality of the school systems for our children. All of those factors went into our decision to actually purchase a house, and we actually moved to Monroeville. Well, that same sort of planning in terms of making a decision to buy a house, you have to come up with that same sort of matrix in deciding what type of graduate school do you want to go to. I say that selecting a graduate school is as simple as A, B, C, and as you see on that screen, that C is sort of bolded and highlighted because there are 6 factors that you want to consider, and they all begin with the alphabet C. They are credentials, curriculum, campus or community life, counseling, cost, and career opportunities. I don't care if you're applying to a med school, law school, business school, or whatever school that you are considering enrolling at. Those are the factors that you want to take a serious look at in terms of your making your decision about a graduate school to attend. In terms of looking at these 6 factors, what I'd like to do is go through the 6 factors. I would like to tell you at least what I consider to be the most important question that you ought to consider within each of those factors. And lastly, I want to talk about how the University of Pittsburgh School of Social Work relates to or fits into each of those 6 factors. First, credentials. The most important question that you want to ask is the program accredited? That is singularly the most important question, the accreditation status of the program. The University of Pittsburgh School of Social Work has been accredited by the Council on Social Work Education ever since 1939. And we just went through an accreditation process in the year 2012. and the accreditations for the next 8 years. So that's always important to find out in terms of the accreditation status of the school. One of the things that you might also want to look at in terms of credentials is rankings. There are approximately, I'm going to say, 220 accredited MSW programs in the country. And the University of Pittsburgh School of Social Work, we rank as the 11th best MSW program in the country. So what does that say about us? That puts us in the top 5% of all MSW programs in the country. Curriculum. You want to look at the programs, the faculty expertise, elective courses, field placement opportunities, faculty-student ratio, size of library. But the most important question that each of you want to ask pertaining to a graduate program that you are applying to is, will this program provide you with the skills and knowledge based on what you want to do as a professional? What I mean by that, let's say, for instance, you were interested in working with a population such as domestic violence. Well, I would think that when you peruse through the curriculum of the courses or coursework that's offered, you would want to see courses in crisis intervention, family therapy, so forth and so on. You want to make sure that the school that you're applying to has courses, and in social work, not only courses, you want to make sure that we offer a field practicum based on what it is that you want to do as a social work professional. Campus or community life. Basically, what I'm saying is the most important question, can you live there? That's what you want to know. Can you live there? Always remember that you will do better academically if you fit into the campus community socially. That's why I applauded you at the beginning for coming out today. You want to see about the University of Pittsburgh School of Social Work. If you're applying to other graduate programs, I encourage you to do the same thing and to make sure that you visit those programs as well to see that when you make that decision, that it's going to be the right and best fit for you. When I'm talking about counseling, I'm really talking about student services. And what we do here at the University of Pittsburgh School of Social Work, I always like to tell prospects or students is that we provide each student with what I define as 3 guardian angels. That is that each of you will receive an academic advisor. One thing about the profession of social work is that it's not only about coursework, but it's about field work, or what we define as the field practicum as well. You will receive an on-site field instructor. For those of you who are going into direct practice, that field instructor will be a licensed clinical social worker. For those of you who are interested in COSA, and COSA is an acronym for Community Organization of Social Administration, that person may be an MSW, but that person may be an MBA or an MPA. But what that person will have is years of managerial or administrative experience in the nonprofit or social service field. Cost. Excuse me. Too often when I talk about cost, the very first question that prospects or students often ask me is about scholarship. I know that you're all interested in scholarship and cost, but it's not the most important question. The most important question for each of you is, can you afford the program? What I mean by that, again, I just want to repeat that again. Can you afford the program? Let's say, I hate to tell you today, but there are schools of social work that's tuition is as high as, and I know one school, their tuition is $44,000. For example, you receive a $25,000 scholarship. Well, that sounds nice, but the question for you would become, how am I going to fund the balance? Where's the money coming from that I'm going to have to live off? How am I going to pay for books? So the question for you is, can I afford the program? What I mean by that is, how much do you owe as an undergrad? How much will you need to borrow as a grad student? You're going to have to come up with a financial plan that takes into consideration your next 2 years here at the Graduate School of Social Work. Last year, we awarded, I'm going to say, about $1,500,000 in scholarships to our students. So the University of Pittsburgh Graduate School of Social Work, we do well in terms of providing scholarship or financial aid to our students. But I would like to tell you that still, I believe that I think 93% of our master's level students are taking out forms of student loans. So you're going to have to be prepared to take out student loans. The big difference between a master's degree and an undergraduate degree in terms of financial aid is that there are no Pell Grants. There are no state grants. Scholarship money is going to come from what we've been given in terms of our university operating budget or through an endowments and gifts that individuals or corporations or foundations have bequested to us. But there are no state or Pell Grants. Again, approximately 93% of our students are taking out some forms of student loans. And the last C that I'm going to speak about is what I call career opportunities. Again, as I mentioned earlier, there are about 220 accredited MSW programs in the country. There are only 24 schools that have career service centers within those schools of social work, and we are one of those 24. What I mean by that, say for instance, once you come in as a first-year student, if you're looking to get a part-time job in the field, we can assist you with that. But more importantly, when it comes time for you to graduate and you're looking for that first postmaster's employment experience, we can help you with putting together your resume, your cover letter, how you go about negotiating a salary. We will even film you if you wish, so that you could go through a mock interview process, so that you could see what you look like before you go out for that first professional interview, so you can see what your skills are in that interview, what your limitations are. We not only want you to represent yourself well, but we want you to represent the University of Pittsburgh School of Social Work well.